All right, good evening. So looking forward to this yin class, Amy.
Thanks for having me here.
Welcome to Grace and Flow, and thank you so much for joining us. Amy Skinner is here to lead us through a super relaxing yin class, which I'm so excited about. I'm going to be practicing just behind the camera. So grab your tea, grab your blanket, your bolster, and welcome Amy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Second time around. Loved it so much you came back again. So today's class, a bolster or a pillow, if you have one of those nearby, that will be handy for a few poses. Each pose is always going to be different for each person, so listening to your body is always super important for me because you know how it feels to be inside of your body. So listening to any points of pain, knowing that pain is the indicator that it's too much for the body, so release yourself out of that pose. But if you're finding discomfort, try your best to breathe through that space. Allowing the body the time to settle, giving the body the time to get in, and relax a little bit further. So we're going to begin class here and lying down. I always love to start lying down, and then we'll end lying down as well. The promise of Shavasana, or also formerly known as nap time. We're going to begin lying down, so make your way there. Rolling yourself down with ease. Feel free to have your hands around the back of the legs. Gently releasing yourself down, strong core. Putting yourself up, shoulders meeting the mat, finding out how the lower back feels. The lower back feels quite sticky or resistant. Feel free to keep the feet on the floor. Otherwise, if the lower back feels quite all right, feel free to extend the legs long. Putting yourself up where you're most comfortable, arms can be long down beside you. Hands can be on your own body if you prefer. If you'd like to start with the arms open wide, feel free to spread them out. Wiggling around until you are ready to commit to a place of stillness. Giving yourself time to settle into the body, helping the mind follow suit. Allowing your eyelids to rest. And just start off by turning inwards and becoming aware of your breath. Just notice the breath entering and exiting the body. Try not to shift anything just yet. Just start by cultivating the awareness around the breath and the body's movements. So watch the ribcage expand and watch how it softens. Take a moment to check in and just see how it feels to breathe. Some days it can feel like there's a weight sitting upon the chest. Some days it can feel quite light and free and expansive. So just find out, where is it at for you today? Where is it for you in this moment here? And then coming together for some cleansing breaths to release from whatever kind of day you may have had. So take an inhale, breathe deeply in through the nose. Letting it go out through the mouth. And then doing that one more time here, breathing deeply in through the nose. Letting it go out through the mouth. And come back to observing your natural rhythm of breath. Starting to shift it a little more mindfully, a little more intentionally. So starting to bring a pause once you reach the very top of the inhale. Once your lungs are nice and full. And once you've had a gentle pause for a brief moment, let the exhale release through the nose, finding your way down to empty lungs. And again, pausing gently in the very base. Continue on in the same pattern. Having your inhales nice and even to the exhale. Pausing gently between both inhale and exhale, both top and down. Feeling more expansion inside the ribcage, more expansion inside the lungs. This is the only thing you're doing in this moment, just breathing. Breathe more breaths in. Continuing to draw those mindful breaths in and out of the body. And bring your awareness down into your fingers and down into your toes. Just start to wiggle these little parts of the body around. Fingers, feel free to gently rock your head from side to side if you choose. Waking the body back up from right underneath. And letting yourself come back to rest. Settling back into stillness here with the arms, the forearms against the mat. Allow the forearms to now lift, keeping the elbows against the earth, circling into your wrists. Circling into the wrists, both clockwise and counterclockwise. Feel free to also wiggle through the fingers. And then taking an inhale, reach those hands all the way over your head. Stretching out nice and long through those fingers. If the legs are long, point the toes even longer, stretching out as long as you can. Reach. And exhale, letting yourself soften. Feel free to bend in the elbows, open them out wide. If the legs are long here, starting to engage the core, bending into the knees, bringing your feet to earth. So the feet are now to mat and the knees are now pointing to sky. Feel free to readjust here, lengthening through the spine if needed, and gently let the knees start to sway from side to side. And as the knees start to sway, this gives you a new opportunity to check in with the lower back. The lower back feels quite resistant or sticky. Send a few breaths down into that area of the body. With your mind, feel that air draw in through the inhale, and envision it drawing down into your lower back with the exhale. Using your mind-body connection to bring relief to stickiness. Letting your knees come back to a still place. Engaging through the core. Feeling your belly draw down towards your spine. Take another inhale. Lift the feet. Draw the knees closer towards your chest. Have the hands come up towards the top of the knees here to start. Again, checking in with the lower back and bringing your mind's awareness to your hips. If there's more room in the hips, feel free to bring the knees even closer, sliding your hands up towards the top of the shin. You always have the option as well to fully wrap the arms around the legs, giving yourself a tighter hug. But allow the space to be where the body is ready to be. Try not to force it into that space where you're wanting it to be. It's that challenge of ego. Feel free to stay still. Feel free to rock yourself from side to side. Continuing to use your breath in this space. Feeling your inhales draw in. Scanning through the lungs and the exhales release out as they soften. And then release the hands, bring them to the kneecaps if they aren't already. Allow the knees to fall open to the sides. So you're in an upside down frog here. Flexing the toes towards the shins, opening up a little bit more in the feet. So the heels will naturally start to draw apart as you flex the toes. Spending a few breaths in this open space, getting into more encouragement of the opening of the hips. Welcome to stay still, or if you feel compelled to move, feel free to maybe straighten out one leg, drive the opposite heel in, and then switching opposite sides. Straightening out the opposite leg. Drive the outside, heel in. And then breathing as you go, listening to the body, feeling the sensations that might be coming along with this pose or these movements. One last breath there. Bringing your hands to the outer sides of the legs, let the knees come back with help of the hands and start to lengthen the legs up. Having the hands now transfer to the back of the thighs. Keep the knees bent at the backs of legs feel quite stiff. Use this space specifically to get into the feet. Flexing into your toes. Feeling into both the tops of the bottoms of the feet here, and circling into the ankles as you're ready. Again, notice the shifts in sensations. Where do you find the sensations transfer to? Maybe you start to feel it draw down the actual legs as you circle through the feet. Showing your feet your foundation and love. And then letting your knees come back into a bend. Letting your feet come back down to the earth. Hands come down beside the hips, palms facing down. Spread the feet about hip width apart here. Setting yourself up in a nice controlled stance. Small minor movements. Take an inhale here to prepare. As you exhale, press your lower back into the mat. As you press your lower back down, it's your core that's activating as well. Pressing your lower back firmly into the earth. Your pelvis will naturally tilt up. Take the inhale to relax. And again, exhale to engage. Core, draw the spine down to the mat. Pelvis is naturally tilting towards the sky. And again, inhale to release. Last one, exhale, pressing the lower back firmly into the mat. We're working into that lower back here, showing it a little bit more love. Inhale to release. Gentle sway through the knees from side to side. We're going to set ourselves up here for a spinal twist. So getting further into the spine, open those arms back up to the side here. You can bring them either out wide into a T shape, or feel free to bring in the cactus, so bending at the elbows. Starting out by shifting the hips first. So allow the hips to come to a hover. Send the hips towards the right side of your mat and lower the hips back down. Take an inhale to lift the knees closer towards your chest, keeping your core strong here. And as you exhale, let the core do the work here. Lower the legs towards the left. As the legs begin to melt down towards the mat here, your right shoulder tends to lift. That's okay. Allow your legs to settle, and then use the exhale to draw the right shoulder down, open it across the chest, letting your heart beam up towards the sky. As you find this place, you will usually be met with a moment of resistance. If it's discomfort, again, allow yourself to breathe through it. And see if it starts to dissipate. If at any point you feel like a prop would help you along in this pose a bit better, feel free to incorporate one. So whether that's including your pillow or bolster between the legs. Or another option here as well is you can have your top knee over the bolster and lengthen that bottom leg a little bit longer. Sometimes that can keep you on your side a little bit easier. So settling into this spinal twist here, wherever you need to be, taking a few deep breaths. So witnessing that body expand with the inhale. And witness yourself soften physically and mentally with the exhale. And remembering that there is power in your intentional breathing. You are sending the signals to the body that it is in a state of comfort. It is not in a state of danger. So it doesn't need to hold on as much as it tries. It is safe. Let go. And 3 more breaths here. Paying attention to the exhales and the softening. Really trying your best to allow the shoulders to melt a little bit further with each breath out. And one final breath. Feel free to join me here for a cleansing breath. Take an inhale in. Relaxing exhale out. So to gently and safely release yourself out of this pose, incorporate the use of your core. So engaging your core and then draw your knees back in towards your chest. Feeling free to do so one at a time. This will help you roll back onto your spine. Having your feet come down to the mat, so you can then lift your hips, shift them back to center, stay here for a moment. Allow the knees to gently sway. Few deep breaths here for yourself. A moment of in-between, a moment of observation, a moment of movement. Sometimes there's some energy that gets dug up. Sometimes there's some stickiness that gets dug up. And you just need that extra moment to process and to deal. So when you're ready for the next side, hips come to hover, shift them towards the left. Lower the hips back down upon the mat. Engaging through the core, inhale, knees draw closer towards your chest. Forwards doing the work here, exhale, lower legs towards the right. As the legs begin to melt down towards the right, noticing that left shoulder trying to pump up towards the sky. Using the exhale to again draw the left shoulder down to the earth. Keeping your heart beating directly up towards the sky as much as possible. Remembering you are more than welcome to prop yourself here in any way, shape, or form that helps you settle into this pose. So again, options, a couple from me, perhaps sliding the bolster in between legs, or lengthen that bottom leg and keeping that left knee bent over top of your front. Witnessing your breath settling a little bit more. Witnessing the expansion with the inhale. Noticing the softening with the exhale. And see how that can ripple down the rest of the body. A lot of times as our lungs expand, we feel a lot of tightness in the shoulders. So as the shoulders release through the exhale, envision that happening down the rest of the spine. Remembering your mind-body connection is so powerful. You can use your mind to connect to the parts of the body that are still feeling like we're holding on. You can gently encourage them to relax a little bit further. And another 3 breaths, continuing to use your exhale to soften. Feel free to join me for a cleansing breath on this last one. Taking a deep inhale in. And releasing it out through the mouth. Again, using your core strength, engaging through the core, take an inhale, let the knees drop back in, helping you roll back onto your spine, and allowing your feet to meet the earth. Lifting the hips, bringing them back to center. Once you're back in neutral, take that extra moment to spend in this neutral position. Letting the knees sway if you so choose. Perhaps you just want to focus on a few breaths. A little stillness. Whatever you need to do here. Sometimes in this spinal twist, we may find some gentle pulling on the upper glutes, the upper hips. So we're going to spend some time doing the opposite. We're going to relax the outer hips this time and get into the inner. So we're in this position where we are with the feet on the floor and knees to sky. Allow the knees to gently fall open to the sides, the soles of feet turning to touch one another, turning into butterfly position. So butterfly position, it does increase the natural curve in the lower back. If it ever becomes too much of a curve, Allow the feet to come farther away from the body. Sometimes that can decrease the amount that you might be feeling inside the lower back. And of course, remember, if pain is too much. And if it's discomfort, which can come along with hip openers very commonly, allow yourself the opportunity to breathe through that discomfort, knowing that you are able to soften. We just need to calm ourselves. And wherever the arms want to be, whether they're still open wide in practice, encouraging the heart open here as well. If you prefer, feel free to bring your own healing hands down onto your hips. And envision from your hands, just like envisioning your breath entering into the area of resistance, feel like from your hands you are encouraging them to soften flat, using your own sense of energy and healing. Always feeling free to carry through any deep cleansing breaths as you see fit. And take a moment to observe your own thoughts here. It's very common for our mind to get pulled from one direction to another. It's not about the absence of thought. It's about noticing where your thoughts are going. Sometimes our mental capacity can add to the resistance that we're feeling inside of our body. Sometimes you might catch yourself struggling in the mind, which is making the body struggle and hold on. So what if you flip the script? What if you encouraged yourself that you are safe? What if you encouraged yourself that you are wrapped in love? And what happens then? And 3 more breaths here. Feel free to join me here for cleansing breath on the last one. Taking an inhale deep in through the nose. And letting it out through the mouth. Feel free to bring your hands to the outside, the thighs, gently encouraging help, engaging through the core, so feeling the belly draw down towards the spine. Slowly lift the knees, so the knees are back to pointing towards the sky. And the feet are coming back to the earth. I suggest bringing the feet about hip width apart. And again, have this time for rest and stillness if that's what you need. Spend this time gently swaying the knees. If you feel the lower back needs a moment of shifting. Spend a few breaths in between. This allows us to keep connected to our bodies. Keep connected to the feelings and the sensations that are coming up for us as we actually allow ourselves that time to listen. When you're ready, rolling over onto your right side, finding your fetal position. If the lower back feels quite sticky, feel free to draw the knees up closer towards the chest here. Take about 3 deep breaths here while you're on your side. When you take these 3 deep breaths, just like how we just talked about with flipping the script and observing what the mind is coming up with, take a moment here to pep talk yourself. So what is it that you need to hear in this moment? When you're feeling ready to pressing the left hand into your mat, finding your way all the way up. And we're going to find our hands to hands and knees right away. So taking the time to adjust, having the hands underneath of the shoulders or slightly wider, having the knees about hip width apart. We're going to keep the toes tucked if this gives you stability, or feel free to leave them untucked if you prefer. Start out by just swaying the hips. Continuing to oil up the joints, we've done a lot of opening already. We have done some twisting in the spine. So now we're going to do a little bit more in the spine, flexion and extension. So we know this as cat-cows. So take your time, coming into it in just a moment here. Really feel into these 2 movements, noticing where you find a really good stretch, noticing where you find some resistance. Allow your eyes to close if you feel safe to do so. Now when you are ready, starting out with an inhale, belly will lower, coming into cow. As the belly lowers, you begin to open up the front line of the body, allow your gaze to lift so you can open up through the heart and the throat as well. When you're ready to exhale, opposite is happening. So coming into cat, spine to sky, tailbone to the floor, chin to chest. Open up through the back line of the body. Flow here as you're ready to, using your breath to lead the way. Inhale, belly lowers. Open up through the abdomen. Really good if you've done any core work lately. Deep stretching there. Knees rising. Again, exhale to cat. Spine lifts, tailbone lowers, chin, chest, opening further through the shoulders. Taking a few around the pace that suits you. Choosing to move through these 2 movements. By that I mean perhaps bending in the elbows when you transfer. Or perhaps you like to shift your weight forward towards the hands or back towards the knees. Take some time to explore. Spending 2 more rounds of breath here. So full inhale, full exhale, twice over. After you've completed your very last exhale, let your inhale guide you back into your neutral position of tabletop here. Again, swaying through the knees, opening up through the hips here. And we're going to bring it down into a puppy dog pose. If puppy dog pose feels like too much expansion within the heart or the shoulders, please bring it into a child's pose instead. That would mean bringing your bum back towards your heels. So when you're ready to make your descent, walk your hands farther forward. If you're staying in puppy dog, hips are over the knees. Having that heart begin to melt down towards the mat. Taking your time, breathing into it, and allowing the expansion to happen as it's ready. So whether you're in puppy dog or if you're in child's pose, opening up through the side of the body. So reaching that right hand out as wide as your mat. And then walk your left hand over towards the right. Feel free to stack them if it's comfortable or just place them side by side. And then having the shoulders become square, feeling that body again melt down towards the earth, stretching out all the way down that left side of the body. So from that Left arm past that left armpit down through the rib cage there, feeling into the lat muscle. And then with control, so using your core, drawing your belly up towards your spine, allowing yourself to move back to center, and then readjusting to the opposite side. So left hand out as long as you mat, and then bring the right hand either on top or just beside, and then again, having your shoulders become square. So you might need to encourage that right shoulder to drop down a little bit, keeping that heart nice and level to the floor. And once again, melting, whether you're still in puppy dog with hips over heels, or sorry, hips over knees, or if you need to bring it into a softer position of a child's pose with the hips back to the heels. Still achieving a stretch down side of the body, just a little bit different in the way. Once again, using your strong core, helping yourself come back to neutral. Spending a breath or two, whether you want to stay in puppy dog or readjust into child's pose, listen to your body and its needs. Taking a full deep breath there. Once again, engaging through the core, start to bring the hands back in underneath of the body. So you're back into tabletop, letting yourself swing, move, breathe, a moment in between. Bringing it up into a standing forward fold. So tucking your toes, take your time here if need be. Once your toes are tucked, lift the knees, bring the feet underneath of the body. And this way you can come off the hands. Wherever your feet want to be is great. So sometimes having them close together feels quite nice. Sometimes you prefer having them a little bit wider. So use this space again to get into the backs of legs, but be mindful of the lower back. So if the lower back feels quite resistant, bend into the knees. You can still find a stretch in the backs of legs with bent knees. This can give you more ease to be in this fold. Whether you'd like to have your hands dangle, or if you're going to have your hands around the elbows, you can stay nice and still. You can sway from side to side. What would feel best for you in this moment? If you'd like to further decompress the head, you can shake that head out yes and no, getting that cervical spine. And continue to breathe. Relaxing the arms if you have them clasped around the elbow. Incorporate your breath with a couple halfway lifts. So we're strengthening the back body here. Take an inhale, lifting the spine only until it's fully lengthened. Strong back, so draw the shoulders back, open that heart, and exhale to release forwards. So we're exercising a little bit into the backs of legs. Again, inhale, lengthening. Slowly stretching through the spine, shoulders back, and exhale, release. Last one, inhale, lengthening halfway lift. And exhale to release. Just see if anything shifted for you. Sometimes as we allow the body to adjust, it will give you a little bit more the next time you come into it. Bringing the hands back down upon the mat, one by one, bringing each knee down to the earth, returning into tabletop here. Swaying in through the hips. So if you're going to make some circles, check in how's the lower spine doing after your forward fold. We come into pigeon pose here. So pigeon pose is a love-hate relationship among many. So feel free to adjust as needed I will give you a modification here, pushing close to too much for the hips or the knees. I like to start on hands and knees. Some people prefer to start in downward dog. So whatever works for you here, feel free. Starting out on the right leg, right knee comes forwards, and then open it up to the side. So as your right knee opens, you're actually externally rotating inside that front hip. From here, tuck that back toe, scooch it all the way back until you feel like you have nowhere else to bring it. Untuck your back toe. Your hips are nice and square. So for me, I don't have any glutes reaching earth because my hips are not as open to do so. But sometimes there's a lot of compression. So if you're feeling like there's too much compression here, where you're going to find a little bit of pain and this is uncomfortable, feel free to bring yourself back up a little bit, slide that bolster in between you, and then lower back down. It's going to be a little bit softer. You're welcome to stay as high on the hands as you'd like. And then bring yourself down to the forearms here to rest out the rest of this pose. So the other options, if this is too great on that front knee or that front hip, feel free to bring your right glute down to the floor, and then bring that left knee farther forwards. This is what we call deer pose. So you can get into that right other glute, just in a different way. You're welcome to stay high if this is where you feel it, or you can start to walk yourself farther forwards, towards that knee, and play around with it. Sometimes you can go farther right, play around going farther left. Give yourself time to feel. Okay, a few deep breaths here. And observe the mind, observe the self-talk. What is happening inside the brain here? Is it creating resistance? Or are you helping yourself soften a little bit further? Be your own sense of support. Be your own cheerleader. A moment to check in with your jaw and see if you're holding any tension in your face. And if so, acknowledge that it's existed. And then see if you are able to gently talk yourself into releasing just a little bit more. How much softer can you make your face? How much softer can you make your head? And then 3 last breaths in this pose. Always remember your exhales are there to help you breathe and push past something. Feel free to join me here for a deep cleansing breath. Inhale in through the nose. Big release out. Take your time here. The body's in compression. It might need some moments to readjust. So as you're ready to come on to the hands, lifting yourself back up. If you're in true pigeon here, tuck that back toe, slowly drawing that back knee forward. Giving yourself time to then slide your front knee back. Personally, I like to extend my right leg all the way back, toe against the earth, press the beyond. For me, this feels great, feeling like there's like a rush of blood flow, rush of energy from that leg that was just in compression. If you prefer to open up the body in a different way, sometimes you want to get into some circling in the hips. So perhaps you like to pop back up into downward dog, and pop up into three-legged dog. Do what feels natural for you. Because again, your body is speaking to you. It just depends on if we're going to choose to listen. What does it want in this moment? And you want 2 more breaths wherever you find yourself before we transition to the next step. So when you're ready for the left, and feel free to come in from downward dog, or on your hands and knees here. We're going to slide the left knee forwards, knees coming open to the side. So it's around the alignment of the left wrist. And then start to lengthen that right leg long. Finding a space where you feel like there's nowhere else to go. Again, if it's too much compression, this will be out of prop in, so that we can actually allow ourselves to further open up in these spots of resistance. If you're in that spot where it's just borderline into pain, your body's not going to let go. It's going to hold on because it thinks it's in danger. So create a soft environment for yourself. And then again, stay behind the hands here for as long as you wish. Going down the forearms if and when you are ready to do so. Remembering that the modification here, if you need it, rolling onto your left glute. When you're ready, you can forward fold your foot and find deer pose instead. That will still get you into that left glute here. So settling back into your breath. See if you can relax the shoulders away from the ears. Become aware of your jaw. Aware of your forehead. Softening all of these areas. Allowing that idea to ripple through the rest of the body. Mind-body connection here, getting into your neck. Mind starting to wander. Check back in, see where you find resistance. Is it the mental resistance? Is it the physical resistance? See if you can soften just a little bit more. Even if it's millimeters, it's okay. And the last 3 breaths in this pose. Feel free to join in for the last cleansing breath here, taking a big and draw it in. And releasing exhale out. And take your time as needed. Coming back onto the hands. Lifting the upper body. Lifting the upper body back up. Tucking that back toe, drawing that back knee forward, releasing any props if you have them. Once your back knee has created space, slide that left leg back. Again, do what you need to do. Same suggestion from me, extending that left leg long. Letting that heel pressing on the toes. Open up into the hips. Staying gentle with yourself. The hips can hold a lot of energy. A lot of emotion can be attached to the knee as well. So breathe, breathe, breathe. More breaths wherever you want to be here. And returning now onto your mat, so when your hands to one side, sweep those feet up. We're going to be seated here for the next little moment. If the hips are feeling a little fatigued, feel free to sit up a little bit higher. Come up on the bolster here. Somewhere that you can have a nice long spine is what we're looking to achieve. So as you sit up nice and tall, allow your eyelids to come to a relaxed state. And just having head over heart over hips. So if you just start moving the head around, creating some gentle circles here. Getting into the sitting spine. And letting yourself settle back in, finding still space. 2 cleansing breaths here, deep inhale, breathing through the nose. Relaxing it out through the mouth. Once again, deep inhale, breathe in. Relaxing, exhale out. Beautiful. With the right hand on your leg or on the floor, depending on what you have closer to you. Take an inhale, reach the left hand all the way up. And exhale, bending into your bottom elbow, reaching up and over, stretching through the side of the waist. So again, further into that lower back we go. Stretching down the lats into the intercostal muscles that surround the ribcage, keeping both glutes nice and firmly rooted. Pressing into your bottom hand, inhale, grow top. Exhale, left hand lifts. Inhale, right hand lifts. And exhale, up and over. Bending into that bottom elbow again. Both glutes nice and rooted, stretching further into the lower back and down. Pressing deep into that bottom hand, inhale, rise up nice and tall. Exhale, releasing that right hand down. A little bit more of opening into the upper heart, the upper chest here. So having the hands interlaced behind you. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see what's going on here. So these are kind of like seated cat-cows. I just kind of put my own foot on them. So having the hands interlaced behind you, spine is nice and long. Grow up nice and tall here to start. As you grow up nice and tall, just mindfully draw your shoulders back. So sometimes the encouragement of the hands can help the shoulders go back. So if you need to, draw the hands away from the body, watch the shoulder blades draw together. Or sometimes you can just activate the shoulder blades themselves. So the heart begins to farther open forward. And you feel a little bit more expansion in the front body. And your next exhale arrives. Allow the body to begin to release. So lower spine stays long, just the shoulders begin to round forward. Relax your chin down towards your chest. So flowing through these 2 movements. Take an inhale, grow back up nice and tall. Draw the shoulders back. Feel free again to remove the hands away from the body. Feel free to tilt the chin up, further opening up in the throat. And exhale, release. Relax. Chin lowers. And make it fluid. Inhale, rise up nice and tall. Expand through the heart. And exhale, relax. Round. Release. Inhale, rise nice and tall. And exhale, relax. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, grow. Exhale, soften. Once more, inhale to rise. Exhale to release. Inhale to sit nice and tall. Release the hands, bring them back around frontier. Bring yourself all the way down to our backs once again. So if you were on a prop, bring it off to the side and lower yourself all the way back down towards the earth, taking time to use your core strength to bring the body all the way back down with ease. So once again, shoulders are meeting the earth. Having the knees bent, feet are still upon the mat. Gently sway the knees from side to side. We've really gotten into a lot of the layers of the spine, the lumbar, thoracic, the cervical. We've tried our best to twist and bend and turn and open and lengthen. Hopefully, a lot of the energy has moved if you've found any resistance, no matter where it's been. And yes, it is possible that maybe you started this practice and you felt it in the lower back and shifted somewhere else. So stay gentle with yourself here as we round our practice out through this last exercise. So letting your knees come back to stillness, engaging through the core. Inhale, drawing the knees all the way back in towards your chest. Hands are on top of the knees. Using your hands, guide the knees into some small circles. Whether you choose to go one direction for one circle and then switch directions, or if you want to do a couple in the same direction and then switch. Whatever makes sense to you. Continue to breathe. Really notice what's happening in your lower back. Notice how your body is shifting on your back. Send some breath into the space of the body. And remind yourself that you are safe. And you are capable of standing strong and taking care of yourself. Really tying into the root chakra. Really tying in the grounding elements of the base of our spine. And allow your feet to release back down the mat. Having the hands come down the side of the hips here as well. We did this previously. We're going to come back to it. So it's that minor movements of the lower back and the pelvis. So taking an inhale right here in neutral. Take the exhale to press the lower back into your mat. As your lower back presses down, your glutes slightly engage, and then inhale again to release and relax. Exhale again, pressing the lower back into the floor. Giving your root chakra some love. Inhale to release. And exhale again, pressing the lower back down. One more. Inhale, release back to neutral. And exhale, pressing the lower back into the floor. Inhale your way back into a neutral state. Take some time checking with the lower back, getting yourself ready for a meditative shavasana. So if the lower back needs more support, feel free to have the knees still bent. You are more than welcome to fall into one another. If you feel comfortable with letting the legs long, feel free to extend them. Another option, which feels really supportive, is having a bolster or a pillow underneath the backs of the legs. This can further relax into the mid flexors here. So setting yourself up where you're most comfortable. And again, arms where they're comfortable as well. So they can be long down beside you. You're more than welcome to place them on your own body. Feel free to spread them out, whether they're beside you or overhead. Getting yourself relaxed. Wiggling around until you feel you are in a state of stillness that you can maintain, and just focus on breathing through. When your eyelids once again come to rest. As your eyelids come to rest, feeling into that space between your eyebrows, noticing your third eye. Feeling the softness. Noticing your eyebrows should fall apart, relaxing away from the carrying the same relaxing energy into your jaw. Taking note of your tongue. If you find it resting at the top of your mouth, allow your tongue to relax. Letting your tongue sit just below the teeth. Even if your lips start to part, encourage them to relax as well. As the face relaxes, carry on that same soft energy over the shoulder, then the healing vibes down the spine. Bring all the way down to the foundation, the very base of the spine, which extends down towards your feet. Choosing your favorite color. On every inhale, envision yourself drawing that color in with your breath. Envision that color start to permeate into the body. And every body part that it touches, it starts to heal. And your favorite color gets brighter and starts to grow with every inhale. Find its way in every crack and crevice. Find its way into each individual finger. This beautiful healing energy of your favorite color comes all the way down the spine. Sits in the bowl of your pelvis. Extends down the leg. Finding its way into each individual toe. You are beaming with color. You are beaming with love. Showing your body here a sense of appreciation for what it's done for you, whether it was in this practice, something else that you did in your day. Knowing that your body is a powerhouse. You are a warrior. Turning to deepen the breath just a little bit more. Come back to intentional breathing for a moment. Feeling the air coming in to the back of the throat. Feeling it leave. Feel free to wiggle into your fingers and wiggle into your toes, putting the body back up here with a more gentle energy. And taking 2 cleansing breaths to yourself. Taking a deep inhale, breathe in. Then relaxing exhale out. One more time, deep breath in. Rejuvenating on the inhale and exhale, letting everything else go. Welcome to stay laying long if you're comfortable. If you would like to roll over onto one side and make your way up to the seated space, I invite you to do so here. Wherever you end up being, if you need to move with eyes open and come back to eyes closed. Letting your hands come together here, palms touching heart center. and you've already expressed appreciation for your body, what it's done for you, take a moment to appreciate your mind as well, knowing that it is so strong and you have the power to use it for good. So with that, as you walk forward, know that you are incredibly worthy. Know that you are so loved and you are so much more than that. It's been an honor. So thank you for participating with me and joining us here at Grace and Flow. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. Namaste.
Namaste, Amy. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome.
That was wonderful.